So Donut Man Jidion is turning abuse into reality TV, and honestly, I can't say that I'm surprised, because if you kept up with me and my content, you'd know I've critiqued Jidion multiple times in the past for making content in the pursuit of gaining. And this is bad because Jidion is a predator catcher. He's doing something that's serious. But if his intentions are misaligned, how can we be sure that children are really being protected?
What he do?
The man who has built an entire persona on protecting kids allowed children to be potentially put in harm's way. And the only feasible explanation for that is because he had something to gain. The same thing I've been saying all this time. A situation about elderly abuse has spiraled into internet spectacle, all because a bunch of content creators seen a couple dollar signs. So if you're curious about how we got here, twin, you already know some good tea. So come tap in. Comment for that.
We tapping in.
Before I talk about how Jidion has turned abuse into reality TV, we need to talk about the person who turned it into reality TV first, and that is Jidion. He has a 3-part video series on his channel where he exposes his uncle, who he himself has admitted is guilty of elderly abuse.
What?
This is 59-year-old Joe from Woodhaven, Michigan. He's my uncle. Now, Joe isn't the typical kind of predator that we usually catch on this channel. Joe is a predator of the elderly. For the past decade or so, he's been financially exploiting and abusing my grandmother, who is also his mother. And before that, he was doing the same thing to his grandmother, which is my great-grandmother. He would put on episodes of temper tantrums, throwing things, yelling, cussing, you name it, if he was not getting the money from them that he demanded. He's basically just a big man-child who hasn't had a job in over 20 years, and this is how he's been getting by. He is a career elderly abuser. Even when I was a kid, I remember hearing arguments between him and other family members where he'd be accused of borderline abusing my older relatives for his benefit. The police have been called on Joe by my grandmother's neighbors time and time again over the last few years, reporting excessive yelling and things being thrown in the house. But without law enforcement seeing anything firsthand, there's simply nothing they could do. My grandmother could report him to the police and have him removed from the premises, but at this point, he has manipulated her so much to the point that she's borderline afraid of him.
So as you can see, Jidion has gone on record to testify that his uncle is guilty of financial abuse, verbal abuse, and even potentially physical abuse. And instead of actually taking the necessary steps to removing him from the house, he decided to profit off of it by making a 3-part video series. And if you think I'm exaggerating, or if you think that my words are too harsh or too blunt, he said it himself. Why not just make money off of my grandma's abuse?
Back in June of this year, when I started hearing about the things he was doing more recently, I was gonna go over there and kick his ass myself. But then I thought, wait a minute, I have a YouTube channel and it's monetized, so I can just expose him on the internet and make some money off of him. So that's what I decided to do.
What does exposing this guy on the internet realistically do for your grandma? Deadass, what does that do for Skeet's grandma? I went out of my way to re-educate myself on the situation. So to start by doing that, I decided to watch Skeet's videos on his uncle. And in these videos, all it is glorified harassment. And let me be abundantly clear, I'm not defending this guy. He's an elderly abuser. But following around a nigga with cameras and profiting off of it and making mini documentary series instead of actually trying to get proof of the abuse is not actually helping the situation. All it does is line your pockets, which is what Skeet literally admit to doing. And the more I watch Skeet's videos on his uncle, the more I realize this is nothing but spectacle. This is nothing but entertainment. He has turned abuse into entertainment. And throughout these videos, the fact that this guy is an abuser is constantly reinforced. They want you to know that he is not a good person. And while that may be true, is Skeet any better for trying to
expose my own uncle? My uncle squatting at my grandma's house, so I threw a party there.
Profit off of this madness? And at face value, you might say, well, they're making money off of a bad person, but like I said, if he is financially abusing his grandma, verbally abusing his grandma, and even potentially putting his hands on his grandma, how does turning this into a reality TV show help her? Especially when the neighbors themselves have theories that Skeet's uncle is putting their hands on his grandma.
When the cops came and they told me that he hurt his leg, he broke his leg or whatever it was, he couldn't do anything, and that she hurt her arm, and it was roughly like the same time, I said, well, do you think it could be physical altercation? Because the way he yells at her and screams at her and swears at her and shit, I'm like, what the fuck? And the cops blatantly, they pulled him aside this last time and stood him out in front of like the garage, and then the other officer went in and talked to your mom, and they asked her like, what's going on, this, that, and the other, and she said, I guess the one officer that drove the F-150 or whatever it is, he came over and told me, he's like, yeah, we asked her if she wanted him gone, like if she wanted him to, us to take him away or take him to somewhere else or whatever, and she's like, that's my son, da 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 da.
Yeah, she defends him
all the time.
And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I'm sorry, like there is no amount of money in this world where I would sit there miserable in my house. I'm sure she's not comfortable. No, he was.
I know we can't talk too much mess on here. They're gonna get you for hateful crimes and cyberbullying.
Out by the tree and the mailbox, and he was literally standing out there for like probably 45 minutes just leaning up.
I think it's very important for me to show you guys these clips because nowhere in this video does Skeet downplay the severity of the situation. They're treating this like it's genuine abuse. This isn't a bit, this isn't a joke, this is real deal abuse, and they don't like this guy. But it feels like there's a level of cognitive dissonance because even though the tone of the video suggests that it's serious, in actuality, it doesn't feel that serious because it's just a man following an abuser with a camera, harassing him, and not taking the actual steps to resolving the situation. And in my own personal theory, I think that this whole documentation thing and this whole internet expose thing has hindered their ability to actually report him to the police.
I know if she chase after somebody, she is not getting far, boy. She finna 2-4. Suspect got away wearing blue pants. She got to run all the way back to her whoop
and get him locked up for a meaningful amount of time. And I low-key feel vindicated in having these feelings because he's still walking free till this day. And now I actually want to mention that Skeet low-key was misleading people with one of the videos in the Uncle series. He called it, "I got my uncle arrested." But if you actually watch the video, the police literally say he's only getting held for a day.
So shut up, because you're a liar. No, because you caused it. All the problems. Abusing her, pushing her, calling her a bitch, saying you're gonna kick her ass. So you just shut up. You just shut up, because you're a liar.
No proof.
Liar.
No proof.
Come tell me you're gonna kick my ass.
Who was all hit?
Me. Yeah, just me. I 100% want to press charges. Yep.
Go on jail.
Yep. Joe, I told you knew we were recording too.
Wow.
Are you able to send me that video, John?
Yeah, I can send it to you.
He stalks people, is what he does. It's nothing new. Nothing new.
Well, we finally caught him in the act doing it. You put like a reverse Uno on yourself. I'm not an elderly lady, brother. You can't hurt me like that. That doesn't work like that, Joe. I'm good. I'm good on medical attention. Thank you so much.
How long are we looking at of him like actually being in jail?
Unfortunately,
Oh.
you're not gonna answer.
Okay.
We're not what?
You're not gonna like this answer. But
That's okay.
He gets a ticket and it's released.
Oh,
That's how
okay.
it is nowadays. Not allowed to hold.
Oh, well, he got arrested, so it's fine.
That's fine. Thank you, officer. Be safe, okay?
So they arrest him for the petty crime of throwing a snowball, but the actual abuse, there's just no proof. And I just feel like that is such a big slap.
Wait. Cuz got arrested for throwing a snowball, so having snowball fights is illegal? I would have cracked me a nigga with a snowball too. What?
In the face to Skeet's grandma. This nigga
That's
Skeet
crazy.
has a whole team to follow this guy and document him just being a bum, but he can't spend the time to actually set up cameras and microphones to actually record the abuse when it takes place. And then you gotta ask, what's the purpose? He gets locked up for a day and then he just goes back to abusing his grandma? There was no resolution, there was no fix, there was no answer to the problem. You have Skeet giving his own verbal testimony of the abuse that's going on. You have neighbors giving their testimony of the abuse, but instead of actually giving this energy the proper outlet it deserves, he decides to turn it into a 3-part YouTube series that
Money,
definitely
boy.
paid.
If y'all don't know how much money that, bro, the only thing that he could, not only thing, but the lowest he could really be getting y'all is like $10. So do the math, y'all. Do the math on 1.1 million views. Let's do 4.3 million views, y'all. Real quick, little math lesson real quick for y'all don't know how much YouTube really pays. Look, you do 4.3 million, right? 4.3 million, and they pay per 1,000, right? Per 1,000, that's 4,300. Say his RPM is 10. That's what the advertisers and YouTube is paying him, like set pay type. He getting almost $43,000 for 1 million views. That's 1 million, 2 million. The second video, that'd be like almost like 200 grand. 200 grand for a video, y'all better get on.
Paid him
I'm
a
telling
lot of
y'all,
money.
you better
Now
get
that you
on.
have all of that context, that leads me to Jidion. Because Jidion said that he was gonna move into Skeet's house and try to get this same guy out of there. And Jidion started by hyping this up on his community tab. As you can see, 42,000 likes. He's asking people for their ideas on how they could properly go about getting this squatter out of the house. And then Jidion had a flyer made to advertise the stream once again. The word squatter is doing a disservice to the severity of this situation. And it's doing a disservice to the situation because it doesn't carry the same connotation as saying, we're gonna stream until an elderly abuser leaves. We're gonna make money off of an elderly abuser. And I really felt vindicated when Jidion gave his explanation for what they were gonna do today.
So this is what's going on, y'all. So Joe, he's a squatter. He does not pay rent. He's legally been evicted. And so we're trying to get him to leave early. That's the whole thing. We're trying to get him to leave early. So what we're going to be doing is we're setting up a giant speaker upstairs and we're going to set up a camera. And pretty much, you guys send a TTS, he's going to hear it. We're going to also be having yodelers. We're going to have, who else coming? We have metal bands coming through. We have everything coming through, y'all.
This really puts a lot into perspective. Jidion does not have to be there. He already said that Joe got legally evicted, so they're just waiting until he actually has to leave. But instead of doing that, he decided to bring all of his equipment, all of these speakers, and he decided to profit off of it via TTS. I guess what I'm trying to say is that I just don't see how a text-to-speech money farm is helping Skeeter Jean's grandma. And if he's already been legally evicted, what is the purpose if not just gaining something? What is the purpose if not just making a bunch of money?
They turning real life into business. That's what it is. When you realize you can monetize life problems, y'all don't understand. Life problems, good or bad, anything, bro. You could be the most boring person in the world, bro. You could go make content and make money out. That's literally what they doing. They taking a bad situation and turning it into somewhat good for them, entertaining the viewer and going to make 43, 50, 60K off of it. Off of just regular life. You could do it too.
Problems seem to be taken care of prior to Jidion even getting involved in this, so you have to ask, why did he decide to do this? And I think it's obvious. They seen a very profitable content idea and they decided to capitalize on it. Uncle Joe is abusing Skeeter Jean's grandma. People are donating money just to see him kind of tormented. Does that make sense? It's just so weird. This is not a coliseum. You should not be donating money on the internet to bother an abuser. If this guy is causing all of this harm to Skeet's grandma, I just don't understand why this couldn't have been handled off the internet. I don't understand why time hasn't been allocated to gathering a bunch of evidence so that they can submit it to the police. Eventually, police come to the house and they end up escorting Uncle Joe out of the premises. They give him a ride, but before that, he ended up throwing a rock at someone's car.
What?
He threw a rock? Oh my god. And they're just giving him a ride. Boo!
So the elderly abuser is not above using violence, and Jidion knows this. And now I'm looking at Jidion weird, because not only was his initial mission of getting the squatter out the house accomplished, but he still decided to spend the next hour plus looking for this guy with his audience that includes children. That means that he's potentially putting the people that came out there with him in harm's way just to get content. The guy who you can't criticize because he protects children decided to potentially put children in harm's way all to get content, because that's the only feasible explanation for why Jidion decided to spend an hour plus of his time looking for this man after the police escorted him away from the premises. The original plan was getting him out of the house, which he accomplished. So why exactly did he continue pursuing Joe? So eventually they track down Joe to a McDonald's, and you know what Jidion decides to do? He decides to send children in the McDonald's with a stream backpack to confront Joe, the same Joe that just threw a rock at one of his fans.
Is he in there? He's not in there? Yo, do me a favor. He's just sitting in there?
He's sitting in the corner, yeah.
Here. Did he bang you?
Yeah, he did.
Here.
He's banging you guys for me?
Yeah. Do this. Do me a favor. Okay, here.
They don't get in
Be
trouble.
very careful. Just wear this.
Which way?
Just on your back.
Okay.
Where does the backpack?
Those cops are about to hit.
You didn't trespass them, so shut the fuck up! But you haven't been trespassed.
Respect what you do in God work.
Here.
And thank you for catching this disgusting animals that roam.
What do you want us to do? Just, like, what are we supposed
Yeah.
to do?
Just walk inside.
Just to get on my video?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
But make sure y'all stick together.
Isn't that backpack like 30 grand?
Yeah.
So trust me. Should just give him the phone.
3 cops?
They have not. Yeah, hold up. Wait. Actually, come back. Bro, they're really protecting
Jidion screaming aside, I just find it really rich how someone who has essentially became immune to all forms of criticism because he protects children is literally sending children to confront a violent elderly abuser. Jidion has a whole team, and yet he still sent kids inside. At this point in the stream, what is the purpose of even confronting Joe? We've already established that he's been evicted. We've already established that he will leave, and we've already established that his initial goal has been accomplished. Everything after the fact has been straight up spectacle and has been a ploy for content and virality. At least that's my opinion, because I just don't see any purpose of going this far after you've already accomplished your goal of getting Joe out of the house. Especially when all that happened after this was that Jidion and 3 of his fans ended up getting arrested because of his antics.
Officer, what are you doing? Bro, they're arrested. Officer, never trespass them. You can't trespass somebody.
Officer, you cannot trespass somebody. Officer, why are you? Officer, were they trespassed? This isn't gonna stick. They never even went on the property. How are you gonna trespass someone that never went on the property? This is a violation. You cannot arrest somebody that never went inside and was never trespassed. Ma'am, they are arrested children that never went inside of a McDonald's. Call the fucking DA and see how fast that shit gets dropped, you fucking dumbasses. Call the DA and see how fast that shit gets dropped. Watch. Call the DA and see how fast that gets dropped. What am I being arrested for?
Disorderly person. You're out here yelling and sitting and causing a scene. You're under arrest for being disorderly. Freedom of speech. You can yell on the sidewalk. Sitting here causing a scene.
On the sidewalk?
Yep.
So you can't yell? Officer.
Damn, he got arrested.
Anything I need to know about?
Is that him getting arrested, y'all? Is that children?
Do you guys really think this is gonna stick? Sure, we have a do you want to waste your DA's time? I am a multi-millionaire. I promise you, I can take this as far as you want.
There are so many things to say about this clip, but most notably the I'm a multi-millionaire, I can take this as far as you want. Do you guys hear how Jidion sounds when he says that? That is the person that everybody's been placing on this pedestal. That is the person who has been shielded from criticism for so long because of what he does, but to me it just seems like an out of touch statement. He had already accomplished his goal of getting Joe out of the house. Everything else was spectacle. He galvanized his audience, searched for this dude for over an hour, and then when they found this guy, he decided to stand outside of the McDonald's with a big crowd, all of his equipment, and then he sent children inside to confront this same man. None of that stuff is okay, nor is it normal. Y'all already know I don't mess with the cops. I don't mess with 12, but in this particular...
12 scary, I ain't gonna lie. I'm scared of 12 too. Every time I see 12, I get to sweating and breaking out in hives and
particular circumstance, I gotta side with them. Life is not reality TV. This initially started as a case of elderly abuse. If these people truly cared about helping Skeet's grandma, why did they not document the abuse itself? Why did they not spend a bunch of time gathering evidence so that they could build a case to present to the cops? I just don't understand it. All this does is it comes across as someone who has misaligned morals, misaligned intentions, and a brain that is optimized for gathering content. They turned an elderly abuser into a villain of the week. And then when confronted by law enforcement, what does Jidion do? He says, I'm a multi-millionaire, I can go as far as you want. This guy has been enabled for so long that now he thinks he's above the law. He thinks he's above being treated like a normal person. And that is incredibly jarring to witness. Mind you, this nigga Jidion decided to live stream his court session.
In the house,
what how he live stream his court session?
Illegally residing in, squatting inside of. I did sign a contract with the homeowner to live there. And that
where's that at?
That is, it's like about 3 minutes from the McDonald's. Like I moved in, all my equipment's there.
Wait a minute, slow down.
Yes, sir.
You're telling me you're living in the same house as Mr. Lucrecio?
Well, he doesn't live there legally. He's.
I don't care. Is he living there?
Yes, he is living there.
You cannot have any contact with him. So you're gonna have to find another place. If you're gonna run into him by going back to that property address, you're not gonna have any contact with him, sir. You're gonna have to go elsewhere. Do you understand that? I'm just telling you, as of now, Mr. Adams is not going to have any contact with Mr. Lucrecio. Sir, don't go back to that house.
Okay.
If you go back to that house and he ends up there, you are not gonna like what I'm gonna do. I promise you that.
So the judge held Jidion accountable where everybody else has failed before. In the courtroom, there are no Jidion fans that will instantly label you as a predator. There's only grown-ass adults in a grown-ass world. And in a grown-ass world, you can't follow someone around with cameras and attempt to harass them, abuser or not. In the real world, you can't
galvanize. Pulling the chud, ain't it? That's basically what Chad was doing. Following people around, harassing them. You doing the same thing.
A bunch of children and have them confront someone who is an abuser. What you should do is you should be trying to build a case against that abuser so you can actually get him locked up for a meaningful amount of time. Not just a day like Skeet did. But that's neither here nor there. Following this court session, Jidion would host a protest where him, Skeet, and more fans would protest outside of the police department. And funny enough, despite Jidion recently disavowing his friendship with Alex Rosen, he would take to Twitter to post a tweet saying, "Free my nigga Jidion," attached with a video of Jidion laughing at Alex's usage of the N-word with the hard R.
What? Okay, go back over there. So this one's for the website. So this one, you can go a little bit crazier now. Yo, what's good, EDP Watchman? Welcome to a brand new catch. This one's Mr. Gordon. He let us tag along.
So you said I could say whatever I want on this website intro?
Sadly, you can say whatever.
Thank you. What's up, bitch ass Nick?
Oh, yeah, okay, no, we're bleeping that. We're bleeping that. Whoever's editing this video, please bleep that one part out. Nope, I am not getting canceled. And I'm playing this because this actually does have a little bit of relevancy for a point I'm making later in the video, but I am showing it right now because I thought it was just kind of interesting that this guy would come to Jidion's defense, especially after the recent drama. And for this last bit of the video, I really want to just discuss why this stuff is all happening to Jidion and the dangers of having a yes man audience. It's no secret that Jidion has one of the most venomous communities on this platform right now, so much so that they will call anyone who criticizes Jidion a predator. And this has gotten to the point where Jidion himself seemingly has a god complex. That's why he was yelling at the police. That's why he was flaunting the fact that he's a multimillionaire. From Jidion's perspective, he can't do any wrong. He is the person who is helping these children. And he feels that way even when his actions don't align. Sending children to confront a squatter who is willing to use violence is not protecting children. His actions are the culmination of a lack of criticism, and I think we finally need to talk about it. It's getting to that breaking point. Everything Jidion displayed on this stream are things that me and other people have been telling him about. Be mindful of how you create content. Where is your headspace when you're creating content? Don't water down the seriousness of the things you do by being content brained. But it feels like everything in this situation was the epitome of being content brained. Even after Jidion's initial goal was accomplished, he still decided to hunt for Joe for over an hour. He sent kids to confront Joe just because he wanted to get content. But when you say these things are wrong or you question the morality of Jidion's actions, his fan base will levy one of the most serious allegations your way. And I got prime example. I literally made a folder on my PC called allegation folder, and it's full of Jidion's fans calling me a predator just for critiquing the fact that it seems like at times he's not doing it with the right intentions. And you have to keep in mind, the fan base is a representation of the
if it's about that paper, it's about that paper though. Yeah, you did.
Creator. And I have prime example of this. You guys remember how I showed you that Alex Rosen was supporting Jidion and saying free him? Well, when I was beefing with Jidion, he decided to defend Alex by comparing me to a predator.
Like that. And I've told him on so many times, I was like, bro, Alex, man, the stuff that you said, people don't slide with that stuff, man. And like, genuinely, I don't think he's a racist dude. He just says racist stuff. I like Alex as a person, and I've gotten to know him. And I know for a fact, everybody on his team is a minority.
I don't know if this is facts, but they're saying that he was using minors in his catches, bro. So you gotta look through it, verify it, bro. If that's really your man's, bro, you wouldn't.
I asked him about that too. And what he told me was when he started doing it. I mean, bro, you know what? If you want, I can put. You wanna hop in a call with him and he tell you everything?
No, I don't want to, because as a black man, I couldn't even give my energy to that.
Okay, so you don't want to give your energy to that, but you want to just you want to, but you don't want to give your energy to that, but you want to deflect. Because I'm cooking you on this other topic, and you want to bring up the Alex. You know what's crazy? Literally, what you're doing on here is the same thing that C-Bot did whenever we set him up. You literally use the tactic that a predator used.
Jidion is very, very aware of his fan base. He is acutely aware that they will call anyone who opposes him a predator. And despite knowing that, he made the conscious decision to compare me to a predator, all in an attempt to defend his racist friend. The word predator doesn't even mean predator anymore. It just means anyone who opposes Jidion or anyone who disagrees with Jidion. It's like I was saying, it's the new villain of the week. Predator just describes the current person that Jidion and his fans are up against. And I just don't think that's the proper way we should be looking at these situations. Not elderly abuse, and especially not child predators. But evidently, this is where we are. When you turn elderly abuse into a TTS game where people can donate you money to bother them, you're not taking the situation seriously. You're just looking at how you can make the most profit. Or at least that's how I see it. So I guess all I'm trying to say is that I'm not really surprised that Jidion is going down this path. He's had an audience that that has enabled him for far too long. And whenever you try to critique this fact, you get falsely labeled as a predator, something that Jidion himself has enabled. Despite knowing how bad his audience is, he still made the conscious decision to compare me to one. That's not an accident. This is a consistent pattern of behavior that Jidion has consistently displayed over the course of years. This is the prankster Jidion. This is the menace. This is the dickhead. And I just want people to be aware that this holier than thou attitude is fake. It's just meant to distract you from the fact that this guy is another content creator. He's another person who wants to make money. He's another person who wants to go viral. Why else would he equip literal children with a stream backpack to confront an abuser? But that's really all I had to say though.